ahead and get started. What's going on, team? It's Ricky with TechBit Solutions. I want to talk about a couple oversold stocks, and you guys can share in the comment section what you think about them. At the end of the day, just because a stock is oversold does not mean that you have to buy it right now. It can easily continue to sell off, but the great idea about oversold stocks is that you can at least add them to your watch list, and if you see an opportunity to present itself, you can choose to take advantage of the opportunity when it makes the most sense to you. The reason I'm talking about Shopify is normally Shopify tends to experience a resistance level right around 1580. Right now it's trading at a previous support level, as you guys can see here, around the support range around 1430 to around 1470. And the great thing about this is that we're still trading below the EMA line, so it's not like we have confirmation, and this thing isn't something that it has huge margin, but it's very consistent. This is Shopify, multi-billion-dollar company, and it's doing really, really well as of right now. So again, if you think that it's a little bit more on the oversold side, you like that 5% margin, and instead of day trading, you're looking more into something to swing trade, then this is, again, a good quality company. It's a blue chip company, right? A company that does very well, very bullish, very consistent, and that's a little bit more on the oversold side. But again, make sure, like, every opportunity comes at its own form of risk, so you do your part in managing risk. If it breaks below the support level of 14,000 or 1430 or 1430, my apologies. The other one that I quickly wanted to talk about is ticker symbol WYNN. This one actually experienced a huge sell-off today. Do I view WYNN to be, this is WYNN Resorts. So if you guys have ever visited Vegas, you might be familiar with this. But WYNN has experienced a really big pullback as of right now. If I'm not mistaken, at one point today, it was down about 9%, and it made quite a recovery. It's now trading at $86 a share. It hit lows of $82, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, $82, and it made a little bit of a recovery. Looks like it's trying to establish a support level. It is on the oversold side. Looking at the MACD, looking at the RSI, we are oversold, but oversold does not mean that it can't continue to sell off. The reason I'm talking about it is there's potential upside. If it does recover back to the SMA line, that's around 14%. If it recovers to just the previous resistance level that it was at just a couple days ago, that would be at 104. That's about 21%. I thought that this would be something worth talking about, especially for those that maybe like riskier swing trades. One thing that I have to point out is we can't just talk about the upside without talking about the risk. The direction is not in your favor right now. It is cheap, but it is bearish. So understand the true direction. This is why, again, I have this reminder that just because it's cheap doesn't mean that it can't be cheaper and it continued to sell off. So just make sure you take that into consideration. I want to make sure that you have your future self's best interest in mind, and I'm just going to set an alert here. If it begins to indicate signs of a recovery, then great, I'd love to follow up with it. Until then, I'm not too worried about it. Overall, big picture, yep, a little bit more on the oversold side. We tend to experience a resistance level right around 136. So this is something that we'll have to follow up with. So again, I find it to be a stock worth talking about. Overall upside does outweigh the downside to some point, but one of the things that is definitely playing against you right now is its overall true direction. The last thing that I want to talk about is we have to, right? AMC, another red day. I want you guys to know that you're definitely not alone. But I want to talk about why today is so important. If you look at AMC on the 1 hour time frame, we're at a critical point. You can see that we pulled on back, and on the previous pullbacks, we have found a support above the SMA, right? We establish a support, we pick up, we pull back. Pullbacks are not the scary part. It's when it breaks its pattern and begins to trade in a bearish pattern. But when it pulls back and it finds a support and it makes, higher highs, this is great. This is the upward staircase pattern. This is beautiful. This is how stocks, correct themselves in a healthy way. But again, we are now trading below the SMA line. We are now trading below the EMA line. This is a step in the right direction because it's very impressive how it pulled back to lows of 43.80, but it recovered all the way back up to nearly $47. So that's a step in the right direction that AMC is definitely trying to hold. I have my alerts all up here, so if we do begin to indicate signs of an uptrend, I'm going to begin to buy a lot more of AMC as it could potentially, pick up and approach previous highs. So that's best case scenario, right? But also we need to take into consideration worst case scenario. This is why I have only 500 shares. I normally hold a lot more than just 500 shares, but it's because we're at this critical point that if it begins to sell off, I do not want to have a lot of money in AMC in case it does pull back, and then I have to end up reducing my position size because the direction is now bearish instead of bullish. We had a really nice bullish run on AMC. I'm hoping that we maintain that bullish run. But most importantly, I'm treating it as what it is to myself or to me, right? And that is a trade. There is upside potential. There is downside potential. I am managing my position size. I am taking risk into consideration. So if we get confirmation, I'd love to jump back in. If we break below, I'm going to reduce my position size even more. I talked about the best case scenario, talked about the worst, and I just thought that that was pretty important to cover as we are at a critical point. On the 4-hour time frame, we are getting rejected by the EMA line, which is definitely not in our favor. So make sure you take that into consideration. But yeah, that's really just it for today. I hope that I earned your thumbs up in this video. Let me know what you guys think about our 2 oversold stocks that we talked about today. That is Shopify, and of course, the other one is WYNN, ticker symbol WYNN. Let me know in the comment section if you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that I earned your thumbs up. Please consider subscribing, and if you guys want to be able to watch me trade live as soon as tomorrow, make sure you click that second link in the description, and I will see you at market open for our live trading session. Like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take it easy, team.